Hello, everybody. Welcome to the As Yet Unnamed podcast. We're your hosts, Adam
and Jake.
Uh,
Adam is my dad, if you didn't know.
yes, if you didn't catch the last episode where we talked about
Thundercats!
right, I was about to say some other title, but yeah, it was Thundercats. You can check that out.
Why did you say you wanted to say another title?
Because I was about to say Voltron, but it wasn't Voltron. We haven't gotten to Voltron yet.
Now you spoiled Voltron.
We talked about what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, but we said the next episode.
Yeah, that's not the next episode. Don't worry, we haven't spoiled that yet. What?
Am I supposed to spoil it or not?
But you can spoil it. Yeah, it's not a secret.
The next episode is arcane, by the way.
Okay, but you should talk. So we have this thing called a pop filter, and you should talk.
Oh,
through
so
it.
is it better when I talk through this?
Probably.
Why is it better?
Because then.
Is this better, guys, or is this better?
That's better, but we have to stay the same distance away from it.
Okay, I forgot to take my recording equipment to my dad's place.
Yeah.
I regret that since I did not remember. We could have had 2 different microphones, but no, because I forgot.
It's fine. It's fine. This is like the growing pains of a podcast. So anyway, today's episode, we're talking about Star versus the forces of evil.
Season 1, keep that in mind, literally just Season 1.
Yeah, just Season 1, and I don't think a lot of people know what it is, so...
A lot of people do also.
Yeah. I think we have probably 2 demographics for this show.
Yeah,
people your age and people my age. So, Star versus the forces of the universe, I'll give you a brief description. Forces of evil, sorry. I'll give you a brief description of what it is, and then Jake will help me out. So, it's a Disney XD animated series.
Yes.
And it came out, I guess, in 2013 or something
2015, I think.
Yeah.
I think it might have been pitched in 2013 or something like that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. But basically, it's the story of a magical princess from...
Mewni.
Mewni?
Yeah, Mewni.
Yeah, Mewni. And she has to go to Earth because, was she grounded or something? I don't know.
No, she was too reckless with her magic. That's a kind of a weird reason to put someone on another planet. They're just gonna be reckless on another planet. By the way, keep in mind that I watched Season 1 with my dad while I watched Season 1 through 4, or maybe there's more. No, there's just 4. I watched all of it before. So
yeah, he's gonna reveal a big surprise. Like, I think if anyone has actually watched the show, you know what the surprise is. But I don't know what the surprise is
because Dad doesn't know. I told him that at the ending of Season 4 is really bad, but he doesn't know why. And when I was about to tell him, he said to leave it for the podcast.
Yeah, so that will be like a genuine reaction of mine. But, so we got a bit distracted again. So she's this magical fairy princess, and she goes to Earth and she meets Marco, and she's kind of like a foreign exchange student. And so Marco is this really, like, he's chosen because he's very, very safe and nothing dangerous ever happens to him. So, yeah, but they fight monsters, and he's very good at karate, and somehow that helps with fighting monsters.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because it's a self-defense technique.
Yeah, but against monsters?
I mean, yeah.
And he's like a green belt or something. I was going to look up the belts, but I did not. But I don't think the green belt is very advanced.
He upgrades to a red belt. But I don't know if they're like green belt and red belt system is like actual karate systems. I think they might have made it up for the show.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Because I know from the show, from watching the show, that he is right under the biggest one. Like that red belt is the ultimate, and he's right under there.
Well, the black belt is the ultimate.
Yeah, but in this show, no.
Oh, okay. Maybe they
So-
lied to Marco.
So they
So,
no.
Well,
They-
generally it depends on the martial arts, right? So, and it depends
It's
on...
fake karate, Dad.
Yeah, and it depends on, you know, where he learns. And in the show, it's pretty clear that he's not going to like some very advanced level of karate. It's like a mall dojo, so yeah.
Isn't he? Well, from my perspective, from what we know, Jimmy, this other guy, this other small child that goes to karate, that Marco does not like. He really hates him. He has rich parents, and they give him private lessons, but he also goes to this dojo. So I would say that it is pretty expensive.
What
His parents pay for it.
everything is from the kid's perspective, right? So if you're Marco, you might think that Jimmy's parents are pretty expensive because
But they are.
he gets private lessons, but also he could get private lessons, and then for his regular lessons he might like to torment Marco or whatever, and he might like to go to that particular dojo,
Just to.
you know. But anyway, the dojo, not very sophisticated, but yes, there's different systems of belts in different martial arts, and with karate generally black belt is like the highest one, and
That's
I don't
not
know.
how it is in the show. I don't know why they would lie, because it could work without changing the colors.
I don't think they're lying. I think
The
it's just
plot of a certain episode could totally work without changing the colors.
maybe it's a joke, you know, that Marco thinks that red is like the highest because somebody told him that red is the highest, but they lied to him.
No, it's not a joke.
Okay. We got a bit of distracted, but digressions are, I don't know, the best form of entertainment.
I don't know.
So we talked about some of the characters. We talked about Star. We talked about Marco. We talked about Jimmy, who's not a very important
Yeah.
character, but
He's
Um,
not.
we have some other characters like...
So we should talk about the villain.
Yeah, who's the villain?
Ludo is theoretically the villain of season 1. Well, you did see Toffee at the end. That guy. The
Mhm.
surprise.
The horse guy.
Yeah, the horse. He's more like a dolphin, I think.
A dolphin. An evil dolphin.
Surprise!
Yeah, so apparently the plot of the story kind of begins after the first season. I just wanted to get like a bit of a taste of the animation and the jokes and all of that. And it's kind of funny sometimes. And the animation is okay. But let's talk a little bit, maybe we'll talk about the animation a bit later. So we talked about
Okay.
Ludo, we talked about
We
Toffee.
haven't talked about Ludo or Toffee.
Okay, well let's talk about them then. So Ludo is kind of like an incompetent boss kind of character where he
Yeah.
orders his minions to steal the wand and he's never successful. And
Yeah.
Toffee, I guess, is some kind of more successful evil character.
Yeah.
But I guess you find that out in season 2, right?
Yeah, well, you can also see that he's definitely a better boss than Ludo. And Ludo's very not nice. He's just a bad boss in general. And he's not a nice person for reasons that you would find out if you'd watched the show for... When do we find that out? Like season 3?
Hmm.
So,
So in his high school, he has some friends, but Marco has friends, not Ludo. Ludo doesn't have any friends. So Marco has some friends, but they're not really that important. They're kind of like plot devices, honestly. And he has a girl that he has a crush on, who's also kind of a plot device in the first season. But maybe, how would you describe Marco and Star's relationship for the first season?
for the first season, they're platonic friends.
Yeah, but
They do get, in Blood Moon, their souls do get bonded, but yeah, they're basically platonic friends in the first season.
so how would you describe their characters, maybe?
But like not their relationship, their characters.
Yeah.
But like how, like who they are.
Yeah, like.
I mean, Star, as we already established, is a magical princess.
Sure. That's
Marco.
that's her character. That's like, you know, who she is. But what, like, if you were gonna describe Star to your friends, like, let's say that she was a.
She's a hyperactive
Yeah.
teenager that might be annoying.
Yeah.
You said that yourself. I don't know if Star would be annoying. Maybe a little, but like you could survive it. I think Star is a nice person, so.
Yeah, I think she has a good heart, and that's what the writers are looking for. She has a good heart, but she's like a hyperactive rabbit with very small attention span. So, like, she can be hyper focused on one thing one time, and then like the next will be something else, and everything is like magical. So, but things are going, you know, magically all the time. And Marco is a bit more stable, although he has his own problems.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, Marco is like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's got that obsession with this girl that he never talks
Jackie.
to. Jackie,
Yeah.
yeah. What was the name of, not Jackie, but the one who said that she
Yeah.
wanted to take a trip to the morgue?
Yeah, the Jenna.
Jenna. So you said that Jenna and him get together?
No, Jackie and him get together.
That's disappointing. I like Jenna. Jenna was one of the most real characters, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because she had...
There's like so little of her. There's more of her in like season 2.
Yeah, because she had, you know, she had personality that you could see from just a couple of comments. Alright, so about the animation. So we have animation, maybe we'll talk about generally about things a little bit, and then we'll talk about whatever surprise is going to come our way. So, or Jake could whack the microphone again.
You weren't supposed to see that.
I saw it, and I'll hear it later when I edit it, so there's no secrets in podcasting. Animation. What did you think about the animation style?
I think the animation was okay. Honestly, I think the Thundercats reboot animation was worse.
Yeah, I think it was worse.
The last reboot, the Cartoon Network one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was worse, but I think it's about, so it was a bit confusing, but the Thundercats have 2 reboots. The one that Jake mentioned and another one. And the first reboot was attempt to be more serious, and the animating was, it's not the same style as what we're talking about here, but it's also kind of like, there's a Disney style of animation for these kind of like shows that they put on, and it's very sort of generic, right? Like there's magic and the monsters look like monsters, and I think that somebody probably sat down and sketched the actual, like what the character design and what they're supposed to look like, but the animation was a bit lifeless, I would say. I think it's the same problem because you could take any kind of, unless it was like Star Butterfly or whatever, you could take a frame of this and no one would know what it was.
Yes, they would.
Because it's not different than other things.
I think that's a little bit too harsh. I think people do like this show and could recognize it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it does have some distinct characters, and I think the animation style might be pretty bland, but generally it is distinct.
Yeah, well, you're entitled to your opinion, sir.
Of course.
I'm entitled to mine.
Yes.
I don't think we have. Well, so the next episode, as Jake mentioned, will be Arcane, which is a completely different style, obviously.
Yeah.
But we have, I think, one more Disney Channel one with the Owl House.
Yes. And my dad and me watched The Owl House before, and we liked it. I mean, I watched it because, like, dad has less time on vacation. But when I'm on vacation, I can simply binge watch the entire thing. So when we started watching The Owl House, when I came back to my other home, I binged watched the entire thing, and then eventually we slowly were able to watch it together, and Dad liked it.
Yeah, so we'll see about that animation. I think that's a bit
Yeah.
more unique, but it's still the same kind of style.
No,
Um,
it's
It's
way
different.
more unique.
way
Yeah.
more unique. Okay,
Yeah.
I hope so, because as I said, this one, the animation was a bit boring. So now, don't reveal the secret.
Okay. I
But
won't.
what did you think about the writing of the first season?
Of the first season,
Mm-hmm.
didn't have an actual villain until Toffee, who isn't really a villain until season 2. So generally, like, it's more of a show that you would want to watch when it comes on TV. When you turn on your TV and you're bored, so you want to put on something, so you put on the Disney Channel and or Disney XD, I guess, and then it shows up, and then you're like,
Yeah, it
that's interesting.
has kind of a feel of like, because so I don't know how to say this exactly, but there are shows where everything returns to the situation that preceded the episode, and the episodes don't have any effect on future episodes. So if you think about The Simpsons, generally there's no overarching plot to The Simpsons because they've been the same age, the same, and they'll do like a lot of weird things in one episode, and usually they don't refer back to, the time Homer was president or whatever, because the reality returns to the way it was before.
Yeah,
So-
I think Gumball actually jokes at that, because they like get. Sorry, I interrupted
No, go
you,
ahead,
but
go
like in Gumball, did I watch Gumball with you? I watched like
We watched some Gumball, yeah.
some Gumball, but in one episode, one of season 1, Gumball and the entire family, all of their mistakes catch up to them, and then they're like, oh no, hopefully there's some magical way that will completely reset the reality to how it was exactly before, and then the episode ends.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if that's copyrighted there, son. Be careful, copyright strike. So there's shows like that, but I think a lot of other shows have like an overarching plot. And
Star does have an overarching plot, it's just not really that in season 1.
it doesn't start until season 2, I guess. But I'm not sure what's better or worse. It depends on the style of the show. Because sometimes when you have a really overarching plot, it's
But like,
for example, your mom, way back when, she used to watch things and she would be like really annoyed that she couldn't just finish something, but then there would be like another season, so you have to watch the other season, and it's like a bit of an investment in time. And if you just have like a detective show, for example, where there's
Yeah.
like a mystery and you solve the mystery in the same episode, that could be better. But yeah, so the writing is a bit kind of like that in the first.
yeah, but like
season.
the things that happen do come back. Like, let's just say that when we were watching Saint Olga's Reform School for Wayward Princesses, the episode 10 of season 1, that did sleep through half of it. But I'm just gonna say that, for example, the plot does overarch, because in episode 2, right, when Ponyhead first shows up, she gets sent to that school, and then, alright, she's kind of a main character as well. But we don't have to talk about her because she's not really a main character in the first episode, in the first season. But then, episode 10 happens, and she's there in that school. And one thing that, I don't know if you remember, but he got that weird arm in one episode.
Mm-hmm.
In the last episode...
Toffee, you mean Toffee?
No.
Marco.
Marco. He got
okay.
an octopus arm, and then it fixed. And then when he didn't want to put his hand in the monster thing because he was scared, and because he had trauma from the arm that you saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw the...
Yeah, so there are some callbacks to different things that happened to them. So it's not exactly like the kinds of shows that we were mentioning, or I was mentioning.
Yeah. It happens all the time with Star. Like, they have a bunch of these kind of filler episodes, but some of them do get referred to after.
Yeah, so Star, like, we mentioned Ponyhead, and Ponyhead is basically a floating unicorn head.
That's a princess also.
That is a princess also. And it's kind of weird, Star's backstory, because apparently she is Marco's age, and Marco seems to be about, 14? Your age,
Yeah.
I'd say. And
14. She's 14.
she's 14 too, but, like, she's partying all night with this, like, creature, so I don't know how that happens. Maybe there's different rules when you're a magical princess.
She's not very responsible, and Marco is. I think that might be something to do with that.
Yeah, but even if you're not responsible, if you're 14 and you're a kid and you go to parties all night, I think your parents should be worried, even if they are like magical, kings and queens or whatever.
I don't know, maybe they were worried. I don't think Star was worried.
Yeah, I don't think she was worried at all. Okay, I wanted to mention some interesting facts about the creation before we go to the surprise, because I think we'll talk about the surprise a lot. So it was created by a person called, Darren Nefsey.
Yeah.
And Darren Nefsey is the main person, and she had this idea to create a show where there's this girl and she's obsessed with magic, but she's not really magical, and Marco in that version of the story would be kind of like her enemy, who was
obsessed with Dragon Ball Z, that's what it says,
Yeah.
and Star Butterfly was obsessed with, Sailor Moon?
Yeah, Sailor Moon, exactly.
Sailor Moon.
Exactly.
And they were like rivals.
Yeah, but so she would solve her problems through the power of determination, and she was supposed to be a bit younger, because apparently the writer and creator was also obsessed with Sailor Moon in the beginning, and there's lots of, I guess, influences on the show from other things, like Sailor Moon, like Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, I don't know if there's a lot of influences from Dragon Ball Z, but I did hear that there's a lot of from Sailor Moon, but I didn't watch a lot of Sailor Moon.
No, me neither. That would be interesting, because it is very influential. And a bunch of other Japanese anime, like I've never heard of these, but Magic
Knight Ray Earth.
Yeah.
We didn't hear of these at all.
Revolutionary Girl Utena and Unico, And then some other things.
Oh, I did hear. Oh, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, that's
You watched that?
Yeah.
And Scott Pilgrim didn't.
That's a comic, but also a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't Scott Pilgrim get a show on Netflix? I thought that was the original Netflix show.
No. There was a comic, and then they made a movie. The movie was pretty successful, and then I guess they rebooted it into a series. But it's a comic originally where Scott Pilgrim has to fight all of his ex-girlfriends. Or their boyfriends, actually. No, he fights the boyfriends of the girl that he's interested in, and they all have like superpowers. It's pretty fun.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. So she took the story to different companies, and then Disney made it, and they kind of Disneyfied it, right? Because now she has real magical powers. Not like Disneyfied in the way of like a Disney movie like Snow White or something, but like, you know, they were like, oh, this isn't extreme enough. She has to have real powers. But we were talking about that, and it would be an interesting show, right? You think?
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting show. Actually, I think that would be an interesting show. And I do understand why Disney or Pixar, or Disney made it, yeah, it's Disney owns it. But Disney owns Pixar, so I guess they would theoretically also own it if Pixar owned it.
Yeah, but Disney made this, yes.
Yeah, but Disney made it. Yeah, I think it's an interesting show, but I do like the idea that she does have powers and she comes to Earth.
Yeah, and she...
I like the whole show in general. I just don't like the ending.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
But I actually think you might like the ending, although no one likes it.
Okay, because I like unusual things. Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about it. I'll wait for hearing about the ending. But yeah, one good thing is that she doesn't really hide her power, so there's no kind of like trope of like the hidden superpower girl, so that's good. And there's some funny moments where their teacher looks like a troll and literally gets turned into a troll. It's funnier than it seems, I would say. And then she at least at the end of the first season, she goes off and discovering her trolldom, and she's like really happy because she's like a teenager in troll years.
Yeah. Because she's 50, but she will live for 400.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we have stalled enough. Now tell me what the big ending is. Like, what happens?
So, you know how the creator... this is two things that the creator really wanted to do, which is a really bad decision for the whole show.
Okay.
So first off, they broke up Jackie and Marco.
Mm-hmm.
Then broke up, how was she called? Marco with someone else again. Broke up Star with Tom. And then this isn't the thing that you'll be mad at, because you already knew that they will be together at the end of the show. But Star, so there's this big villain that tries to kill this Queen Eclipsa that was supposed to be the queen or whatever. But get this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Star destroys all magic.
Oh.
All of it.
Okay.
And you know what's even worse?
What?
She committed genocide.
Genocide? What?
Yes, because there is beings that are magic that are confirmed to die if she does that.
Why does she do it?
To, I don't know, not get killed by this being. She literally committed the genocide, and then there's this whole thing, which means no magic, means no Marco, and then when magic gets destroyed, their universes somehow blend together, so the writers find some way to make them be together, and then the creator said, yes, I would like to make more Starverses, because I'm pretty sure the creator just wanted magic out of the way.
Well, folks, I was not expecting genocide.
Yeah, I forgot about genocide. I was just like, magic, yeah, you might be, but that's pretty tame. But then I just realized that also genocide. She did commit genocide in a kids show.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of genocide. I think
Genocide.
maybe she was unhappy with the way the show began and she knew it was going to end. I mean, the creator of the show that Jake was referring to.
Yeah.
And then she just wanted to end it like she wanted it to begin. So maybe that's it,
But they're supposed to be rivals and now they're a couple.
Who, Marco and
Yeah,
Star. So let's talk about that. I don't like the ending. I'm not entirely surprised, but it's a strange ending. And when I was
How are you not surprised by genocide? I'm not talking about Starco or whatever. That was bound to happen. They had a girl and a boy as the main characters of the show.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
But they did genocide and they destroyed magic, the very thing that Toffee, this villain, tried to do and was claimed as being a bad person. And then they were like, yeah, and then a magic character said, that stuff did more harm than good anyway, when she's about to die.
Well,
oh my god.
Jake has walked away in disgust. I'm not surprised because a lot of these shows, a surprisingly large amount of these shows, involve genocide. Like what happened on Pandera, that all of the planet got destroyed and all of the people got destroyed. And I think we'll see the same thing with Voltron. There's
but
surprisingly a lot.
Star shouldn't have genocide. Star is a show that didn't have genocide for 3 seasons, and how much seasons is there how much episodes is there in season 4? I don't know, but that amount of episodes did not have genocide, and then the last one did.
Yeah, well, the Thundercat starts with the genocide, so you're just comfortable with it, I guess. The viewer. So I would say the part, it's a little bit shocking, and like the way that they talk about magic is also kind of weird in the show, because it does seem like every magic creature that Star creates or like summons really likes her, but it also seems like they don't have much choice. Like they have to do what she says because she has this wand, she has this power and stuff. So
yeah, but they like her.
Yeah, maybe there's like magical slavery or something.
No, there's not.
As we talked about in the.
Is there? No, probably.
Well, kind of, because there's.
They do it willingly because they are created to do it and they like doing it. So
basically, they created magical slaves.
Yeah, but like they're not. They're okay with it, so that's less bad.
But there is genocide earlier in the show
No.
because there's these monsters. And there's like this episode about Independence Day for
Munipendence Day.
Muti or however it's called.
Mewni.
That's a weird name. But there's an Independence Day, and she has this book, and the book shows her what happens, and she didn't really think about it before, but basically the monsters are living their lives, being monsters or whatever, and these powerful beings with magic,
there is this whole thing.
They come and like they destroy the monsters, but like violently destroy, like a genocide, basically.
Yeah, so the whole show is theoretically about genocide, but the thing is, the last season, the season mainly about genocide, there's this So you know how Star said in the book, when she was reading the book, that there was a queen that created these big soldiers
Yeah.
that killed the monsters
Mm-hmm.
or made them run away or something like that. So these soldiers, this one soldier survived, and that's the main villain of season 4.
Okay.
And I think she wants to kill monsters, or doesn't want, and also doesn't want Eclipsa to rule because she had an affair with a monster, and there was
Okay.
not an affair, but she had a baby with a monster, and then they replaced the baby with the teacher that was running this teacher that was running the school for wayward princesses is actually the princess of Mewni that should be running Mewni right now.
That's a lot of backstory.
Yeah,
folks.
but the the knight, the person, how was she called?
I don't know.
The knight, she wanted to kill monsters or whatever, I guess, and there was no way to defeat her. They couldn't defeat her. So, to stop monster genocide, guess what Star decided to do?
Destroy magic?
Genocide. I can't.
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't want to be justifying any sort of genocide, but do these magical creatures actually exist?
Yes,
Are they real?
they are.
Hmm.
And some of them are her friends. Like, is Ponyhead a magical creature? But that's an also interesting question, because the monsters, they aren't magic, but Hekapu, which is this, which is like a part of the Magical High Commission, she is magic. And there's a Magical High Commission where all of them are magic. And they're friends with the Kingdom of Mewni, so she knows them personally and killed them. And there's also probably thousands of universes with these magical beings that she just killed. She didn't do genocide, and to stop genocide, she decided to do omnicide.
Omnicide. That's a new horrifying term where you genocide the entire
I heard
universe.
I heard that term before because I think it was in a Marvel comic or something.
Wow. So yeah, another thing that she has this like, she has like a few magical tools. She has the wand, which is very important, but she
Yeah.
also has like these interdimensional scissors that she can
Yeah,
cut
Hekapu
holes,
actually
and then
makes those.
she can travel through different dimensions. And she also has like a mirror that she can talk to her parents with. So genocide is not cool, folks. But the thing I don't find cool.
Hello, we took a bit of a break
Yes.
in the middle of a sentence.
I was gonna be more smooth about that, but Jake gave you the secrets behind the podcast, behind the scenes.
Wait,
So,
what
yeah.
were we talking about?
So genocide's not cool, folks.
Yeah.
Not cool at all. I don't
No.
support genocide, but I also wanted to talk about the thing that I don't really like in a lot of series, which is you have these two characters, male character and female character, and they have some camaraderie or charisma together, but they're not actually attracted to each other. And then they get put together because of reasons at the end. Like, there's no reason in this kids show that Star needs to end up with Marco, or vice versa.
There is a plot reason.
Well,
They get soul bonded, but here's the thing, right? So they get soul bonded, right? But then they don't want to have feelings for each other, so they unbond their soul, and then they end up with each other at the end anyway.
yeah, I don't know. I just don't like it. I think it's lazy, and I think it gives kind of bad feeling. Maybe not bad feelings, but I don't want to say influence because I don't think this cartoon has ever influenced anyone. But I think it's a bad example.
Genocide. It influenced someone to
Yeah.
genocide.
Yeah, thank God. But I mean, there should be media where men and women or boys and girls are friends because it happens in real life, and then you get like these horrible, discussions on the internet that men and women can't be friends. I have a friend who's a woman, and I'm not interested in her. Do you have a friend who's a girl and you're not interested in?
Yeah.
There you go. Everyone does probably.
Yeah.
And guys have guy friends they're not interested in. So I don't. But it seems like 99.
Well, it's actually easier for guys if they're not gay.
Yeah, but it seems like 99% of people in at least media in shows, if you have like a main character and a female character, they always have to get together, even if they're not compatible whatsoever. I think the worst example of this is in a show called Bones, where there's this like forensic detective and she solves crimes through science, and then there's like this regular detective, and it's not like they hate each other. They have like some respect for each other, but their characters are so different, and at the end of the series they put them together like, oh yeah, you were expecting it, here we go. It's weird. I don't like it. It's a pet peeve of mine. And Jake's been quiet a lot because he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of media where they are just friends.
Can you think of anything?
Hell of a Boss, Millie and Blitz.
Aren't Millie and Blitz married in Hell of a Boss?
Millie and Blitz. Millie and Moxie are married.
Okay.
Blitz is their boss.
Okay, yeah, but Blitz is gay.
Blitz is bi.
Okay. But that's a hell of a show to talk about as well. Maybe if we do another episode about
I think we could replace Steven Universe with Hell of a Boss because you won't watch the whole show anyway, so what is the point? He watched 11 episodes with me. 11! I could rant about that for
It's
30 minutes maybe.
horrible.
Horrible.
Maybe we'll watch that and then we can rant about that.
Because we already watched Hell of a Boss.
I guess, but I'm trying to think of a series. Hell of a Boss is interesting, let's
Yeah.
just say. But I'm thinking of a series where the character is not bi or not gay and they're friends. And the other character is also not gay or not bi and they're friends. And nothing happens.
Well, Hell of a Boss.
Yeah, but another one? I can't think of anything.
Wait. Right. Not bi or not. Okay. The Owl House, Luz, and Hunter. Hunter is straight, but Luz is bi.
Yeah, that's why they can be friends in the world of media.
No, because Luz could be attracted to him and he could be attracted to her.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be gay to be attracted
No,
to
but
her.
they never have straight people who are friends with the opposite gender. That's what I mean.
Because too many gay shows.
Too many gay shows.
What about
I really can't think of anything. And I watch a lot of media.
Echo and Vi in Arcane, but Vi is gay.
Yes, exactly.
Oh no.
And I guess they're not really close. It's more like Echo and Powder, but we'll talk about
Yeah,
that in the
but
Arcane episode. Yeah, maybe I'll think about that, and that'll be my homework for another episode to tell you series where they're straight and they're friends. because I don't think that exists in media very much. And one thing was in the back of my mind, but I completely forgot.
So Star versus up until the season 2 finale happens.
Yeah, but they change it and then they commit genocide for them to be together. So
No, but that's not. That's when we figure out that Star has feelings for Marco in season 2.
I think Star is too chaotic to have feelings for anyone, honestly.
What? That's a wild statement.
Well, she doesn't have enough train of thought to like.
Are you saying that she's stupid?
She's not stupid. It's just her brain works like a crazy bunny, and hard to focus. And like maybe there are some moments where she's like compassionate or whatever, but to actually have
Okay. If this podcast gets out, I don't know. We might get cancelled.
I think the genocide is a bigger problem than me saying that she committed genocide. Why are you sticking up for a character that committed genocide? Who cares if she finds love? She's an intergalactic war criminal.
That's not on her. She would never commit a genocide if it wasn't for the writers.
You're blaming God? You're
Yes,
saying God is responsible for genocide? God,
Yes.
is the writers basically here. So
Yeah.
she's responsible for the genocide she committed. Okay, craziness.
She doesn't seem like a person who would commit genocide, but then the writers are like, alright, we need a way to get rid of this person that we already established is undefeatable and also get Star and Marco together. So this person is undefeatable and they're magic, so let's delete magic but then he wouldn't have Marco. Well, who cares?
Okay. I think the episode started a bit slowly and then we got into it with the genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see why you wanted to talk about the show.
Yeah. But we didn't watch all of it. We watched season 1.
Yeah.
I think we could have watched at least until season 2.
And I think probably I should have said this in the beginning, but spoiler alert for the show.
Yep. Spoiler alert.
If you listen to this to this point, then probably you already watched the show or you're interested in watching the show. Oh well.
Now you know that Star committed genocide.
It's at least 10 years old, this show, right? So
Yeah.
you had time. You had time to watch it by yourselves. Don't blame us.
Don't blame us.
So I'll give you my verdict. I don't like the genocide, obviously, so I can only talk about what I liked or what I watched. But I wanted to say like an episode that I kind of liked because it was just so crazy. The one where she has Mewperty.
Newberty, yeah.
And she turns into this crazy butterfly who's obsessed with boys. It's really, really fun episode. Do you have an episode that you particularly liked?
Wait, I wanna sing a song from that. Oh wait, how did it go? Why don't you clean your room, Mom? I don't like your boyfriend, Mom. That was what Oscar was singing in the car. Star's crush? The guy in the car?
Oh, right. I was like, there's no drama like that in that show. But yeah, there's a crush named Oscar that Star likes, and he's got this kind of keytar, and he's just playing out, and he gets like swallowed.
Oh, she does end up with Oscar. See, there's so much shipping in this show.
So that he gets eaten by a monster, and he's playing this song that Jake just played.
And she's going, as Dad said, he's going through some bad things as he sings, I don't like your boyfriend, Mom.
Yeah. So I like that. So now it's time for our verdicts. What did we think about this show? Like the final thoughts about the show. Would we recommend it? So maybe I'll go first and then you can have the final word because you know more about it. But so apart from the genocide, I would say it's a fine show. It's not the best. I did fall asleep, but that's probably on me and not the show. But it seems like a normal kind of Disney show that they make. Although, that is a crazy twist. So, yeah, as far as I know, as far as I watched, it's kind of a mundane little thing. 5 out of 10, I would say.
5 out of 10?
Yes.
I would say watch the show until the episode, I forgot what its name is when they unbond their soul. It's a pretty, very underwhelming finale, but it works for a finale for me because I thought that was where the show ended because I got some sort of blindness. I don't know, I thought that it said reset. No, it's not important. It's Passagot or something.
He's checking my phone.
Yeah, because it was ringing and I don't. It was okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So watch until the. Forget about the genocide. If you skipped that part because you didn't want to know the surprise, then good. Oh well, now you know because it's oh my god. Alright, well forget about all that and watch until the episode when they unbond their soul because I like saw on Disney Plus when I was watching it, I saw a restart button in my head and I was like, that's a restart button, right? But it was the next episode button, so I don't know why. And I was like, oh, that's how it ended. But then I started watching it again and something that you definitely don't know by now, something happened. Very not fun.
That we haven't been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
No.
But that's an interesting point you brought up because I think that there are shows where you don't like the ending because of whatever reason. And now the phone is really ringing. It's not my phone, it's Jake's phone.
Pause. Okay.
Yes, I paused. So as I was saying, Jake brought up a good point. There are shows where you don't like the ending and then you have like a choice about where you believe that the show ended. I was watching a K-drama recently called Possessed. It's really good, but it takes a very dark ending. So I just finished watching at the happiest possible moment for the characters that I liked. And Jake recommends the same. So
yeah,
after
because
the
it was
soul
like
bonding,
underwhelming and then I was watching a YouTube video and then I saw like in the middle of the YouTube video when he was actually about to start talking about the very unfun ending. I didn't know about the ending, but I saw some footage when he was talking about it that I didn't see. So I was like, maybe there's more episodes, and there were, which was my worst mistake.
maybe not in his life, but in that show.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've talked enough about Star versus the Forces of Evil. I don't think we can say anything more without watching.
Wait, maybe I can. I mean, I can say there's way too much shipping.
You mean for fans of the show? Or in the show itself?
In the show itself.
Okay, what do you mean?
So first, Star has feelings for Marco. She goes to Mewni because it's awkward, and then Star ends up with Marco ends up with Jackie, and then he has like a mission on Mewni, and when he comes back, it's all he talks about. So then Jackie leaves him, and then he goes to Mewni just for Star to be with Tom, and then Marco ends up with this other girl that I forgot's name, and with Kelly, and then eventually they end up together. I forgot what happens.
Yeah, it seems very complicated, and I think it's all caused by the writer's inability just to make two straight people not fall in love as main characters.
No, I'm pretty sure Star is bi, actually.
Well, does she end up with any girls?
No, but in a specific episode, there's also one thing I didn't mention. Marco becomes a full-grown man in a teenager's body in a certain point in the show, and it's not ignored.
Like Thundercats.
Yeah, like Thundercats. He goes to a dimension as a boy, and then he becomes like this jack dude. But then, so in this dimension, Star was thirsting over Marco. But then in another episode about this dimension, Marco had this girl friend a normal girl friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Star was also like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so she might be bi, and I think there is also one thing that might imply that she's bi, but I forgot what.
So Jake is wandering around. So I think we have literally now talked about everything we can talk about with Star versus Universe.
Versus the forces of evil.
Versus the forces of evil, thank you. That will be my thing. I'll just get the titles wrong for everything.
Yeah.
Mothra, what was it last episode?
Mothra
Instead of Mumra. So next episode will be Arcane, so keep the podcast playing for that. We've been your hosts. I'm Adam.
And I'm Jake.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.